Before we get started, if you haven't seen the other videos in this series with the #1 Bloodhound and #1 Gibraltar players in the world, they're linked down below in the description, but make sure to leave a comment on which legend you'd like to see in this series next, and subscribe so you don't miss it when it comes out. But for now, let's jump straight into the video. My name is Nickel, Nickel, and today we're going to talk to the #1 lifeline in the world and see how I got there from his own perspective.
What's up, guys? My name is Dalton, but my gamer tag is Daltouche. I currently have 26,000 kills and 24,000 of those are on Lifeline.
That puts you at one of the highest kills of any player beyond just the legends, right?
Yeah, I'm currently at #2 in the world. I'm behind Base God Fearless, the #1 Wraith. He has like 700 more than me, and we're just kind of going back and forth every day with the grind. We're both on PS4, so it's kind of just like all love. It's not even a competition at this point. We're just holding the #1 and #2 spot.
Is there any reason why both of you guys are on PS4 as opposed to PC? Is there any differences of why that would be possible, or is it easier to play for a longer period of time, or is there anything like that you think that plays a role?
Well, the reason I'm on PS4 is just because I've never had a PC before. I've never played any game on PC. I've been console my whole life. I'm not sure about him, but most of the people in the top 10 for global kills are all console, I believe. So I guess it might be harder to get more kills on PC, or it might be less people grinding on PC as hard as the console kids are grinding. So it could be something like that.
When did you first start playing Apex Legends?
I think a day after it came out. I think I had an exam coming up the day it came out, and I was supposed to study for a couple days, but then I just said, and I downloaded it because I saw all the hype about it. So I think I started a day after it came out.
Do you remember what your initial reaction was when you first saw the first footage of it, or any artwork or anything?
I was really eager to jump into it because I was super burned out on Fortnite, and I was really wanting something else to play.
Is that what you were playing before?
Yeah, I was playing Fortnite mainly and Overwatch, but I was super burned out on, I guess, both of those games really, and so I was looking for something else to play. And this game kind of came out of nowhere. I feel like it just, all of a sudden, it was just like bang, and everyone was just playing it day one, so I was like, all right, let me get in there.
Who were you maining in Overwatch?
Zen and Lucio.
Okay, so you're doing support.
Mm-hmm.
Were you doing a lot of Overwatch competitive, or were you mostly playing casually?
No, I played competitive. I'm pretty sure I was high master and then low grandmaster, which is what I usually had my SR at for most of the seasons.
So what made you choose Lifeline when you first came in? Was that kind of just the support vibe from Overwatch brought over into?
No, it had nothing to do with support. Honestly, it's kind of a dumb reason, but I guess I read all the abilities for every hero, and I was like, she could heal herself, and I was literally too lazy to go around and pick up heals, and I read that she could heal herself, so I just was like, all right, I'm just going to carry shield, and I don't have to heal myself at all. That's going to be great. And yeah, that's it. That's the only reason. I just didn't want to pick up syringes and medkits and have to heal myself. I would just press L1 and shield up while I'm healing myself, and that was the whole reason.
The other 2K kills that are not on Lifeline, was that all on one legend, or is that just kind of amongst all the other ones?
It's amongst all of them, but mainly it's Path, Octane, and I think that's it. I don't think I have more than 100 kills on any other one besides Mirage mainly, which is a mistake of 100 kills.
How do you think you became the top Lifeline? What tips or things have you learned over time?
Well, how I became the #1 Lifeline, in all honesty, was I think the leaderboards dropped a week or two, something like that, after the game came out, and I knew I was playing the game a lot, and I knew I was getting a lot of kills, and so when the leaderboards dropped, I saw myself, I think I was top 80 overall for kills and top 20 for Lifeline, and then that's when I just kicked it into another gear and was like, all right, I'm chasing this #1 spot. And so the reason I became #1 is because I just put in so much time into it and haven't stopped since.
So have you learned anything about Lifeline in that quest to become #1 that you think most people probably don't know? Any specific tips or anything?
All right, well, general stuff, you got your passive, which is your shield when you're rezzing people, and you could res people 25% faster than your other teammates or any other one on the game. So that's nice. You're going to need to be the one rezzing if you can, because it's shorter than the other teammates' time to res. And the shield helps a lot because you can just go into a fight and res as long as you place your shield towards the enemy. You shouldn't be scared to res anyone because you have a shield that they can't shoot through. You're probably going to need to expect some nades coming in once the shield goes up because it's big and bright and blue. So that's what I do when I see a Lifeline rezzing, is I'll just throw some nades on the side of it.
Have you seen those crazy clips of the guy who specifically tries to, he's not even really rezzing, but he's using the res as a shield, so he waits for the guy to reload and then he drops the shield and kills him? Is that something you regularly do?
Yeah, that's what I was getting into. I do that very frequently. It's good most of the time. I'd say 99% of the time, if you're in a close quarters fight, let's say in Skulltown, in one of the undersides of the buildings, the little hallways, and you go there, I'll just run up to my teammate and hold square for a second, and it'll show that big blue shield. Almost every time the enemy's gonna just start rushing straight at you, and let's say you have a peacekeeper or something like that, you can just bait until they get right up next next to you, right in front of the shield, and then you drop it, and then you can pop them. Or if, let's say they don't run up, they'll take like 3 steps. You could pull the shield up, you can pull out like R301 or whatever you got, shoot them a little bit, and as soon as you're done shooting, just go back to pressing square and be behind the shield. You could really, it's really versatile if you have the mindset of that you're going to bait the enemy into trying to put damage out on them while they're expecting you to be rezzing and not faking the res. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely think that people like see that and just want to make a move a lot of the times.
Yeah, they'll 100%. The game's still relatively new and people are still learning, but I've noticed that every time you pull up the shield, that they'll definitely push or give away. They'll come around a corner. Like, it also makes a huge audio cue. The shield does. It'll go like wah. So they'll be like, all right, he's rezzing, let's go in. That's what I know they're thinking. So they're gonna rush around from wherever they're at, and you can pretty much expect that. And as soon as they get in the open and they're running, they're not expecting you to drop the shield and start shooting back at them. And then as soon as you're done shooting, you can pull back up the shield and use it as a defensive thing. You can get real tricky with it. It's nice.
Yeah, I saw a guy basically do like an entire team wipe. They were trickling one by one because they all came in trying to go for the shield.
I saw that. Yeah, they don't know what to do. I mean, the shield's super powerful. Nothing can get through it, and you could get real comfortable. The more you play it and the more you try to do it, you can pull off some crazy stuff. There's one time me and my boy, we were dropping out of a respawn ship because our teammate just rezzed us, and my teammate got instantly downed, and I pretty much just went on him right away, and I just pressed square, and the kids were like 5 feet away with a Peacekeeper, and I literally just rotated around my teammate over and over again, just pressing square and blocking the Peacekeeper shot every time he pumped, and I would just move, res, and just hold the shield, and the kid could not kill me, and then I waited for my teammate to come back. It was a sick play.
Cool. I mean, do you have any other things like that for any of the other abilities, or just general Lifeline things you've picked up along the way?
Yeah, your dock healing drone. I play super aggressive because I'm always going for kills because I'm obviously trying to climb the leaderboard. So I play really aggro, but the thing about Lifeline, she doesn't really have an escape at all. So if you get caught in a bad position, you're going to take some damage for sure. So what you want to do is retreat, obviously find cover, and if they gave you enough damage, if they're smart, they're going to push. What you really want to do is before you start putting on your shields, you want to throw out that L1, the dock healing drone, so you can maximize your health intake overall, like in the time that you have until they get to you. That's a big thing because, I mean, if you don't put down your L1 before you start taking shields, you pretty much wasted 10 seconds of what you could have been getting in health.
So you're saying like just doing them both at the same time as opposed to like...
Yeah, you want to throw down the L1 before you start putting on shields as opposed to putting on shields and then doing the L1, because let's say they get there and you did it the wrong way, then you could theoretically have like 45 HP more than you would have if you did it the right way.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing as if going back to Fortnite, like drinking the potion while standing on the campfire, right?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that, for sure.
You know, I know that obviously the enemy team can use your robot against you. Is there anything that like you keep in mind when you try to position in a place where like do you think about that at all, or it doesn't really matter?
Yeah, there's a few things with the robot that you could learn. Let's say for the first one, the robot does give away an audio cue. It has like little cute robot noises while you're healing. So let's say you're running away from a team and you're really low and they're right on your trail and you try to heal, they'll hear that and they'll find you. So if you wanted to, you shouldn't use it and wait for them to pass or like lose you or give up on the trail of you before you use the healing drone, because it does give away audio cues and they will find you if they have headphones or a brain. Also, the healing drone, sometimes it usually magnetizes back to where you initially put it, but other times you could literally walk with it if you're pushing it. So let's say if you're on flat ground and you put it right in front of you, you could walk in a straight line with it. You can't sprint or else it'll go to the left or the right of you and it'll go back around you and it'll stop. But you can technically put it in front of you and it'll be like at your shin level or the character's shin level, and you could just walk and move with it.
Yeah, so kind of like push it around to where you need it or whatever.
Yeah, you could push it around. Also, you could push it towards your team. Like I usually play solos, and so if I'm feeling nice enough to heal my teammates, my random teammates, which I usually am not because I'm usually tilted. But if I'm feeling nice enough and I'll just squad wipe a team and I'll put the healing drone down and they won't even know, but I'll be watching them loot, and so I'll just kind of scoot the healing drone over towards them, give them some juice, and go look for some more people.
So what's the reason you choose to do solos? Is that just you feel like you can get more kills like that?
Yeah, typically I do solos for kills because most of the people I play with are pretty good, and if we play together as a team as opposed to breaking up and just doing solos on the same map, if we are playing as a unit, it's pretty much just a kill stealing fiasco at that point, and we all just run through teams, and there's just not enough kills on the map for me to keep the pace of the leaderboards.
So what about the ultimate? Do you have any thoughts on like when or how or when is the best time to use the ultimate?
The ultimate is very good. I don't use it as much as most lifelines would because my main goal of every game is to run around and find people as fast as I can and kill as many people as I can. But when I first started playing the game, it is a good ultimate because you can get the ultimate accelerants, which will increase your ultimate percentage by 20%. If you have a lifeline on your team and you guys are playing strategically and let's say you go Skull Town and you all have white armor and you find like 3 ult accelerants and you want to maybe call in the pack and see if you can get a purple armor, that's pretty much the main reason. It'll usually drop like an armor, healing items, hop ups, or like a purple attachment, something like that. So it'll bring in some juice for you and your team.
So is it just too slow for you to like wait for it to come down since you're always like running around?
Yeah, I'm usually just sprinting around the map. When I'm streaming, people in my chat are like, oh my god, call in your ult, and I just call it in and run away.
Have you ever pulled off a kill with it?
Yeah, I've pulled off a couple kills. I think I've killed myself and my teammates more than I've killed the enemy with it.
What happened there?
The teammates one, it was a standard lifeline pack call in, and I happened to be waiting on it this time. Me and my teammate were just standing there. It was nothing out of the ordinary. We were right by Cascades, and it just landed, and I died. Me and my teammate both died, and we had a good lull about it. I don't know how it killed us or why it killed us. We weren't standing underneath it or anything. We were just standing around the blue ring on the ground, and we were just dead in a matter of seconds. And then the one with the enemy, we just squad wiped the last team, and the third one had a gold knockdown shield, and so he crawled in the storm, and so I called it in right on his head, and right before he got the gold knockdown shield animation off, it landed on his head. It was pretty cool. It was for a 20 bomb too, so it felt real good.
Do you think that there is any lifeline is particularly weak against any other legend or strong against any other legend? Like if you're in a 1v1 scenario?
I don't think she's weak or strong against any legend. I think she's definitely one of the stronger legends in general, and I think she's definitely the meta for this game. I think she's definitely a shoe-in for a pick on a team. I think every team needs a lifeline. You don't need it necessarily, but it is really nice to have a lifeline, to have that healing drone to give heals for everyone and stuff like that.
Do you think that she is the strongest legend in the game right now?
Not the strongest legend in the game, but she's definitely like top tier in my opinion.
Who do you think is the strongest one?
I think Bangalore probably has the most complete kit.
Who do you think is the weakest one?
It's got to be probably Caustic. I would say Gibby, but I think Gibby can be very, very good if you put it in the right hands. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say Gibby, but I still am going to say Gibby because the most Gibbies I run into, they're just not the good players that I'm referring to. So I'd say Gibby and Caustic, I guess. And Mirage. Could not forget Mirage. He needs a rework for sure. Mirage is not very good.
So if she's not the strongest, but you think she's pretty much top tier, do you think she has the strongest ultimate?
Not the strongest ultimate, but I think it can make a big difference. But I don't think it's the strongest ultimate in the game, not by any means. Because I mean, it can kill people, but I think there's more stronger ultimates in the game strictly because they can actually do damage to opponents and stuff like that.
Who do you think that would go to, the strongest one?
Strongest has got to be Gibby or Bang, for sure. If you get caught in a Gibby ult, it's so GG. And a Bang ult is just, it's so good for zoning. It's amazing for zoning what it can do. It can create so much space for your team or the other team. And that stun is just ridiculous. You get so dazed for like 10 seconds and you're just like a sitting duck for a little bit.
Do you find that there is a lot of hackers or cheating like on console Apex Legends? Since I've never really played console before.
I don't even think it's possible to cheat on console. I'm so ignorant on the topic, but I genuinely don't think it's possible to cheat on console. I could be so wrong, but I really don't think it is a thing. I've never run into a cheater. The closest I've been to a cheater is people coming into my chat saying I'm cheating.
That you're the one that's cheating?
Yeah, the people, like my random teammates see my stats and they're like, oh my god, this kid's hacking. And I'm like, all right.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
They see the number and they think you're hacking.
Yeah.
I asked a little bit before we started, but just so everyone knows, does bunny hopping exist on consoles? And if so, do you use it?
It does. I'm almost positive you have to have a certain button layout, and it's not the button layout I play on. Base God Fearless, the #1 Wraith and the #1 kid on the leaderboards, he has the button layout to allow you to bunny hop. I think he's making a video on it right now. But yeah, you can bunny hop on console. I don't, so I don't use it, yeah. But it is nice. I mean, it pretty much allows you to heal and move at the same time. You can start your heals quicker before you go behind cover as opposed to getting behind cover and then starting your heal, like your battery or something like that. So it can be a split-second thing to decide if you live or die, but I mean, I'm just playing pub, so I don't think it's that serious.
Are you planning on going to some kind of competitive scene in the future?
Yeah, well, that was the goal initially, but there was a tweet the other day or yesterday or something like that about how the Apex devs don't have any competitive format in their future plans anytime soon. Hopefully that changes because that's what I'm going for. But yeah, they don't have any competitive plans for the game. They said they're open to, I guess, listening to the community, which obviously that's what we want eventually. But it's still a new game, so I mean, I'm still open-minded to the fact that they'll make a change and hopefully add competitive or ranked or something like that. But in the meantime, I guess I'll just do like third-party cash tournaments and stuff like that.
How much are you practicing a day? And are you playing every day too?
Yeah, it's pretty much an everyday thing. And a like, and then I'll play for like a week and a half straight, and then I'll physically need to take a day off where I lose my mind. I've done like 22-hour streams multiple times, but I would say it averages around like 12 hours a day, give or take like 4. So sometimes it'll be 16, sometimes it'll be 8. But yeah, it's pretty much the leaderboard grind. I couldn't be as high as I am on the leaderboards if I didn't put in that amount of time.
Do you ever get any like fatigue in your hands or your wrist or anything?
No, my friends get that. They ask me if like my thumb's cramped. I've never had that problem at all. It's mainly the only fatigue I get is the mental fatigue. It's hard to push through the tilt of playing through solos for like 10 hours or something like that. That's the only fatigue I get is the mental fatigue. And sometimes if I play for like 18 hours, my eyes will start like actually burning, but that's when I know it's time to get off.
Do you try and like communicate to your team pretty consistently, or are you kind of just like in your own zone trying to do your own thing?
It depends how I'm feeling. Depends if I'm like in the comms trying to be funny for like the stream and stuff like that. I'll talk to them and be with them. But most of the time, most players, not to sound rude or anything, but they just don't have the pace to keep up with me. Like if I squad wipe a team, they'll show up like a minute later and loot the bags for 3 minutes, and by then I'll already be rotated like off 2 balloons on the other side of the map. I'll usually ping where I'm heading, and if like the teammates instantly respond and have been responding all game and seem like they know what they're doing to an extent, then I'll try to stick with them and be a decent teammate.
Over on PC, there's like a pretty consistent series of game crashes that happens. Even though there's lots of updates, it still seems like they still keep happening. But do you guys ever have that on console? Is there any consistent game crashes where the game just shuts off or anything weird like that?
Yeah, I've had a few game crashes. I don't think it's as consistent as PC. I'm not sure if PC has the sound bugs that console has, but like let's say the bus is right over Skulltown at the beginning and it's a hot zone. Let's say you got like 5, 6, 7 teams there. It sounds similar to what a EDM festival would sound like if the speakers were melting, and it's terrible. And we'll also have like slow-mo lobbies, which I've seen on PC. Like you get in the game and everything's just the Matrix for like a minute. So there are problems for sure, but I don't think there's as many game crashes as there are on PC. Even though there are game crashes, my game has definitely crashed a few times.
So what do you think would need to be added to Apex in order to like keep the game growing and thriving and keep it interesting for you? What would be like your wish list of something you wish could like be on there?
Well, it's a little too late for this, but I would have liked to see the battle pass have some more to it. I think it was kind of a letdown. I think I could say that speaking for most people who bought the battle pass.
What would you want to see in it?
Just, I don't know, just better stuff. Hero skins, there were no legend skins, I don't believe. Actually, there were a couple, and they were pretty and they were all like the same. So there could have been more skins, could have been more weapon skins too. The Havoc skin was cool, but at the same time, that was a level 100 and a level 110 skin, which is like the top levels of the battle pass, and it's for one gun, and it's the Havoc, which is typically not the most used gun in my repertoire. But yeah, the battle pass could have been better, but I think to keep the game growing, they, 1, need to make the second battle pass better. 2, they need to act like they care about the game and the players, because there's a lot of problems in the game right now. I think like Pathfinder's hitbox, and there's the sound problems, and there's obviously the game crashing problems. I don't even think they've like said anything about it, like we're looking into it, yada yada, stuff like that. So I think they need to act like they care a little bit more, in my opinion. And then last but not least, I think they need to add some sort of competitive aspect to the game, like a ranked playlist or something of that nature. Or they could add like solos, duos, or like quads. I think all of those would be fun.
When you say solos, do you mean everyone queues up solos so there'd be an individual?
Yeah, 60 people all against each other. I think that'd be fun. I would rather see quads, teams of 4, before I see solos, because this is more of a team-based game. The legends kind of mesh with each other, and there's compositions and stuff like that. So I'd rather see a teams of 4 playlist than solos.
In that meta where it was truly solos, who do you think would be the strongest legend in there?
That's a good question. I don't know. That is a really good question. I feel like it wouldn't really shift the tiers of the legends if depending on solos or teams, because I mean, it's not like if Gibby or Caustic is a low tier legend right now, then solos would make Caustic a high tier legend. That wouldn't be a thing. So I think it would still be probably Bang or Wraith or Lifeline, maybe Bloodhound. I don't know.
So you think Lifeline would still be pretty strong even in that scenario?
Yeah, I think she'd be strong. Thing is, third parties and solos would be definitely the biggest problem with that, because you, again, no escape. Like Wraith has her L1, she could literally just disengage out of a fight, because if you get sandwiched,
you would also lose your shield too, right? Because you wouldn't be able to res.
Yeah, you'd lose the whole passive. Actually, there'd be no passive. You just have your Doctrone healing. That's a good point. Yeah, you'd 1/3 of your character would be eliminated with solos.
I don't think they've announced anything like that if they're planning on doing anything besides besides threes, right?
Nah, I don't think they have either. But I would like to see any sort of new addition to the game. I feel would be good, just to keep it growing.
In terms of content, is there anything specific you would like to see? What types of content like would be on your wish list besides cosmetic content and stuff like that? But like actually stuff in the game, what do you think is the most important? You know, like in Fortnite, there's a million different items and stuff like that. You think those kind of items are just more legends or just more guns or something totally different?
Yeah, I think they're coming out with a legend every like couple months or so that's good. I mean, like, I'm not opposed to emotes. I think it'd be pretty funny in this game to have some emotes. Obviously, it's a little childish to try to ask for Apex to do what Fortnite did with all the emotes because they got a little out of hand. But I think it would be funny to see a Gibby doing an emote or something like that. Just a little bit of flair, because right now there is no flair besides like the heirloom knife. Oh yeah, they could also add heirlooms for every legend. I don't know why it's only for Wraith.
Yeah, they got to be doing that. I feel like that's the most obvious one.
It's just the game right now. There's nothing extra besides like a couple skins and stuff like that. So they just need a little bit of juice. That's all they need. Or just the more they add new stuff, the more players it'll bring. Because I mean, Fortnite was just constantly adding new stuff all the time, whether it was skins, dances, stickers, whatever they were called. It was just new stuff all the time.
Were you playing Fortnite as many hours a day as you're playing Apex right now?
Not as many, but I had Fortnite season 1, and so I was playing like super hard season 2, 3, and 4, and then I started getting burnt out season 5, season 6, season 7. I mean, I still played, but like I wasn't having as much fun as I was, but I was definitely grinding Fortnite really hard for sure.
Was it just less interesting to you, or were just too many hours of playing it?
I loved Fortnite at first, like the first couple seasons or so. I was really into it, but then I mean, I don't know, I feel like if you put so much time into a game and then like there was a wave of Fortnite being really great and then they started adding this and that, and I think there was a collective idea of the fact that this game is like getting worse. So that's what I thought. I still played obviously because I had nothing else to play really besides Overwatch, but I mean, I kind of fell out of love with it, I guess you could say.
Do you see yourself ever being burned out from Apex, or is that way far off in the distance?
No, I definitely could see it soon. The fact that there's no competitive on the horizon anytime soon, and the fact that I've been grinding insanely hard, putting in pretty much every waking hour of the day into this game. Like if I'm not sleeping, I'm probably playing. I'm already getting burnt out, but the thing that keeps me going is the fact that it's bringing in viewers to my Twitch and stuff like that. So that's good motivation. But I would like to see competitive announced at least for like a release date. If there was a competitive release date, they said it was a year from now, that would be enough to keep me going.
Do you use a standard controller, or do you have some kind of specialty one or something?
Yeah, I got a regular DualShock controller. It's gold, and I have a Control Freak on the right stick.
Is a Control Freak is just like the extension on the analog? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's a little tiny extension guy on the analog stick.
I know very little bit about those kind of controllers. Is that more just about like the precision, or what does that help with?
Yeah, it's supposed to give you a little bit more accuracy and range of motion on the stick. I mean, Apex, it might affect. It could give you an advantage a little bit. I'm not sure, but I mean, I had them during COD, and COD was so quick, and you needed that quick aim because you just die, you get killed in a second. So, but I don't think it helped in Fortnite. Apex, it might help, but I don't know. I've just had one on my controller for so long that I haven't ever taken it off.
Where do you like to drop the most with Lifeline?
For me, I like Skulltown a lot, but if there's no one there, I'm not going. Pretty much drop wherever people go. I always turn the camera around or whatever. I turn the field of view around right at the beginning, and I just look where people drop, and I count the number of people wherever they go. There's a lot of people. For some reason, I still am so confused about this. Every day when I get on, there's always 4 squads going artillery. Like almost every game, it seems, no matter where the bus is, it feels like. So I see myself at artillery a lot. Airbase has a lot of people a lot, and then Skulltown is obviously fun if the bus is coming from the right side of the map. But pretty much for me, I just go where people go.
What do you think are the strongest and weakest weapons in the game right now? I guess besides the P2020 and the Mozambique, just cut those off and then cut off the wingman at the top. And then besides that,
I'd like to say something about the Mozambique. At the first like month or so, everyone was talking bad about it, but honestly, it's really not as bad as people think if you hit your shots. You can hit for 60 3 times, and it does pretty good damage. I would much rather have a Mozambique than a P2020, but it is still pretty bad if it's like mid game. You don't want to keep it, but early game, you can work with it. You can do things with it unless they have blue armor or something like that. And the wingman at the top, yeah, I guess it is what it is. But I mean, honestly, it's the Spitfire at the top for sure, 100%. The wingman, like the wingman's good if you're feeling yourself that day and you're hitting your shots for sure. It is good, and it has a better range than the Spitfire. But I mean, honestly, I can't even say that get, because the Spitfire it's an absolute beam. If you get a purple mag on it and like a 2x bruiser, it's a total GG. Like you can kill a whole team with one clip. It's ridiculous. The amount of damage that thing puts out with the headshots and the mag size it's insane.
That's your number one gun, but pretty much above everything else.
Yeah, the Spitfire, I mean, it's just the damage output is so insane on it. You could just clip kids so easily. You can get 2 knocks with it very easy handedly.
Would you choose that even over the legendary weapons?
Yeah, I think, well, the legendary wingman I'm not a big fan of. I don't like the 1 to 2 variable sight on it at all. I find myself struggling to hit shots. I mean, I'll still take it off rip because it's huge with the skull piercer early game when people land and they don't have armor and stuff like that. But I don't like that one. I do love the R301, but I don't find it as much honestly anymore.
What about the Mastiff carbine? Those are totally different guns, obviously, but like you still go for Spitfire over any one of those?
I usually don't take the Mastiff because I kind of think it's like too easy. I like using the Peacekeeper with a choke on it more. It's like more fun, in my opinion. I like the way the Peacekeeper hits as opposed to the Mastiff, because the Mastiff is just like, if you get near someone, it's like, all right, well, you're dead right now. You could hit someone for over 200 if you're right in their ear with it.
So Spitfire at the top, and then who would be at the bottom then, or which gun do you think is like at the bottom besides those two?
I think if we're referring to early game, I think if you pick up the Flatline and don't have a sight on it, or if you pick up the G7 with no sight on it, I think those guns are absolutely horrendous until you get sights on them, and then you could work with it. The Flatline's good if it's like within 10 feet. Let's say like you're in a hallway of Skulltown, like it'll work there, but you really need a sight on both of those guns. They're super tough to work with without sights. I guess like the next ones would be like, I mean, I would say the RE45, but I really think that gun's good. Like me and my friend did a whole game with the RE45 the other day, and I mean, it's not bad.
You racked up some kills with it?
Oh yeah, we ran through lobbies with it. It was super fun. Once you get some attachments on it, like it obviously doesn't have the range capacity as most other guns, but I mean, close up, I mean, it eats for sure. With a mag on it, it's fun.
So do you have any last tips or any like extra tips we didn't talk about already or anything like that? It's pretty much the end. It's just anything you can think of that you want to include that you think would be really interesting for them to know about tip-wise. Now's the time before we kind of close it out.
If you're playing the play style of really aggressive, going for kills around the map, the Lifeline packs come down faster than the map giving care packages. You'll see them shoot out of the sky and they touch the ground within 10 seconds and they come down just like way faster. So whenever you hear the sky kind of open up and make that noise, that's a dead giveaway that there's going to be people where that lands. So if you want to rotate to it, that's an easy way to get kills. Or if you're playing on the opposite spectrum of aggressive and you're playing kind of just like real passive, you landed, water treatment or something like that, you're just going for the dub, low kills, you don't care about getting kills. If you have a Lifeline on your team and you call it in, you obviously are going to have to realize that people could be rotating to you. So that's a dead giveaway of where you are. If you're playing passive and you don't want to fight people, you need to realize that people could be rotating to you because of that right there. The Lifeline drone can block bullets, by the way. It can block bullets, yours and the enemies. I've died because I had my Lifeline drone right in front of my gun. I shot it like 10 times, and the kid just lasered me. But I've also hidden behind my drone in a corner one time during a fight, and he shot at me for like 4 or 5 seconds, and I don't know how I died because I was so low health, and I was like, wait, he had to have shot my drone like that many times. So that's just a little something. I doubt it'll ever get used strategically and on purpose, but it can block bullets, so just take a mental note of that.
Once again, thank you so much for doing this. Just state your stream URL and when you go live so people can check you out. And also there's going to be a link down below in the description. You guys can just click on and go straight to it. Definitely show him some love, drop him a follow, check out his streams. But go ahead and let him know.
All right, it's twitch.tv/Daltoosh. That's DALTOOSH. I don't have a time of when I go live because this game has absolutely annihilated my life and schedule. But I'm pretty much live whenever I'm awake. There's no telling when I'll be awake or asleep, but I am live very frequently. Most of the time you'll catch me on as opposed to off. So come on down.
And which time zone are you in?
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard. So there you go. The hours you would be awake on the Eastern Standard Time, he's probably live. Well, thank you once again, man, and thank you guys for watching the video.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
See you next time, guys.